Let me get to trade. Silicon Valley giant Scott McNealy, who ran Sun Microsystems for many years and is now working on things like Bitcoin in the Valley, joined us yesterday, and we asked him to come on because we wanted to know if he believes the Chinese will really change their ways following the G20 meeting this past weekend with President Trump. Listen to what he said.
It might slow them down for a little bit, but I really think they want to see if they can outlast. I mean, what I would guess they're probably doing is they're going to try and outlast the Trump administration and then go back to their old ways. Over the last 20 years or so, we've been, I don't know one CEO who isn't frustrated by, both arms tied behind their back as they head into the Chinese market.
He's not a believer at the moment. The trade truce reached at the G20 summit last Saturday. A lot has changed in the last 24 hours. Before today, the Chinese were totally quiet. They didn't say anything, didn't confirm what the Trump administration said had been struck. Well, now they're a bit more articulate today on what's been promised, and we want to know if we believe it. Let's bring in the man who knows how the Chinese think. Joining us now from the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy at Tufts University, Professor Joel Trachtman. Professor, get to it. You believe these guys?
Well, I think that Scott McNealy is right that the Chinese strategy is one of strategic patience, both with the United States in general over the past 20 years and with the Trump administration in particular. China has its growth strategy. It's not a market economy. It's an economy that is directed by the government. Part of that industrial policy is to appropriate as much foreign technology, including United States technology, as possible. And that's all part of the plan. So that's right that China plans to wait out the Trump administration and any following administration. But the tools that the president is using to address the problem of China's policy are not likely to solve the problem.
Why not? He said, don't get it done in 90 days? Fine. I'll go back to raising those tariffs from 10% to 25%. And we do know that some Chinese businesses on the ground there are hurting. Why would you think that that's not going to work?
Well, China, I think, will be able to outlast us. The next tranche of tariffs will do a great deal of harm to United States productivity. They've already done a great deal of harm to the United States. And so China is not so worried about tariffs. The tariffs are not a good tool. We have multilateral institutions, including the World Trade Organization, which the Trump administration has not been using. And we have allies who can cooperate with us to try to address real concerns about China. President Trump, there are several problems with China. One problem is not so much of a problem, and that's the one that President Trump focuses on. That's the one of the bilateral deficit. And the tariffs are meant to address that. The insistence on buying more soybeans and other things, those are important, and we want China to buy our things, but those insistences are designed to address the bilateral deficit. We have deeper structural problems. We even have a security problem with respect to China's continuing growth.
Well, OK, so you don't believe that the Twitter diplomacy or President Trump's diplomacy work. I think we need to give it a little time because what has not been working has been everything before then. And the Chinese have ramped up. Scott McNealy specifically said it's gotten so much worse. In fact, he said his company, Sun Micro, helped build out the internet in China. And now we know that internet is completely locked down. They shut out all U.S. businesses. They force you to do joint ventures. And on top of it, they are not a free society. They're an authoritarian rule. So I do believe, though, that Xi and Trump have good chemistry. As President Trump and Larry Kudlow, they all said that. And it seems like they have a relationship or an understanding. How far will that get the United States in them trying to push them to stop stealing IP?
I am not a believer in chemistry in these types of negotiations. And, having heads of state meet and try to solve issues is not the right way to do it. You need a lot of Sherpa work to set the groundwork for these negotiations. That didn't happen in advance of the meeting this past weekend. And so you need technical specialists, experts who really know what the problems are to address those problems. And chemistry is great, it's important, but that's to solve the last few problems after the technical experts have thrown up their hands and can't do any more.
Well, Joel, I think you're with Scott McNeely, and you're on different coasts. You didn't get together on this one, but President's tweeting that he believes that we're getting strong signals from the Chinese. I suppose time will bear out who's right here. Joel, thank you very much.